Hello, good evening, and welcome to Become a Better Man. My name is Tunde Disu, and you are very welcome on today's program and on this platform. I appreciate your time, appreciate your willingness to be part of today's program. I want to start by saying last week I said we will continue the topic that we looked at last week, which was how to be an early riser. Um, but as I was preparing, this other topic came really speaking to me loudly. And I felt it would be good for us to look at it, to examine it, to dig deep into it and see where we go from there. So we are not continuing the how to become an early riser as I promised last week. We are starting it. We're looking at a different topic today. We're looking at how to be optimistic in life, how to have a positive view to life and to situations, to circumstances, to life in general. So that's what we'll be looking at on today's program. Starkate, thank you for being with us. Hey, Emmanuel Wiggy, thank you, sir. Good to see you. So we're looking at the title, Be Optimistic. Be optimistic. Uh, Life is either positive or negative. There is no in between. You are either seeing it from a positive angle or you are looking at it from a negative angle. Over the years, I'm sure you and myself and all of us together, we've heard people say things like, oh, do you see the glass half full or half empty? Which is one of the common saying when it comes to whether you are an optimistic person or a pessimistic person. My friend Latif Alao, thank you, sir, for being part of today's program. So you'll have heard people say things like, "Are you seeing the glass half full or are you seeing the glass half empty?" The reality of that statement is that you are both looking at the same thing. You are both seeing the same thing, but the interpretation that you are giving to it is different depending on views and your uh, the way you approach life generally. That is what will determine whether your glass is half full or is half empty. You probably also have heard of people saying, well, when life hands you lemon, then you make lemonade out of it. Or there's always a silver lining behind every cloud. Or don't worry, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Just make sure it's not a train coming towards you. Good evening, Professor Drojaye. Thank you, sir, for being part of today's program. The internet has been doing its thing again. But we're back. Thank you for hanging out and waiting and being part of today's program. So all these statements, when you hear them, they are all pointing at the same thing. When you hear, is the glass half full or half empty? Hope against hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. All these statements, they all point to the same thing. They are all saying, look at it from a positive point of view. Approach it from a positive mindset. That's all it means. And that is what being an optimistic person is. So what is optimism? Optimism. It is a tendency to be enthusiastic and to look for the positive aspects of most situations. To look for the positive aspect, to look at things generally from a positive perspective. Now, does that mean things are going to be rosy and perfect and hunky-dory all the time? No. But you see, it's not about what the issue is. It's not about the situation or the circumstance that you and I are facing. The main issue is our mindset, how we see it, how we relate to it, how we approach it, how we interact with that situation that would determine the outcome in most cases of the situation. So when you look at, when you have a positive outlook to things in life, when you have a positive mindset as far as issues and situations are concerned, then people regard you as somebody who is an optimistic. Now, does that mean the people who are pessimistic, does that mean they are bad? Or no, it doesn't mean that. It simply means they see things from a different angle. And one of the good things about being an optimistic person is that you are very accommodating, which is part of the positivity that you carry and that you portray in everything that you do. Optimists always see the good side of people, the good side of situation, the good side of circumstances, the good in people, in relationships, in environment. They always find something good to latch onto rather than see the negative side. And when you look at the life, the atmosphere, the condition that we are all living in and with these days, we all have enough reasons. Truth be told, there are enough reasons out there for us to be negative, for us to be pessimists, for us to not even expect anything good to come out of life. But that is not going to help our situation on the long run. So, because you have nothing to lose, you might as well give it your best shot, look at it from a positive mindset, approach it from an angle of, I have nothing to lose but everything to gain in this situation. And so people who are optimists, they have a way of communicating and framing their messages in a positive way, from a positive point of view. They are, excuse me, optimism is associated with risk taking. It is associated with risk taking. And usually people who are pessimistic, because they always they see things from, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if it fails? What if and what if? Well, like any situation in life, the possibility, the probability of the success rate is almost equal to, or is equal to the probability of the failure rate. But at the end of the day, you still have to do something. You still have to live your life. You have to approach things. You have to interact with people. So optimism is associated generally with risk taking and an abundance mentality, whereby you are happy for others even when they are successful. When it is not you being successful, you're still happy, because your happiness is not primarily determined about the outcome. Your happiness is just a way of life as far as you are concerned. Now, one of the main criticism against people who are against optimists is that they can take excessive risks. They don't usually calculate the cost before they launch out, before they embark on something, before they sign up, before they do things. They just go ahead joyfully and happily, only to go halfway through and realize, oh my goodness, what have I signed up for? Now, as true as that may be to some degree, as far as an optimist person is concerned, they don't see it that way. They see it as simply a learning experience, something they learn in the course of attempting, in the course of stepping out, in the course of breaking the mold and coming out of their comfort zone. He exposes them to, yes, risks, danger, you name it. But at the same time, insanity, as they say, is doing the same thing, expecting a different result. So if you want a different result, you have to step out of your comfort zone. And that is one of the characteristics of an optimistic person, they always want to try something new. They want to, for instance, a lot of people will rather go to a restaurant and eat the same uh, well done steak with chips and gravy sauce that they've been having for the past 5 years. And but an optimistic person who want to be adventurous or want to try other things, to say, try me with something new. Let me try something new. Now, it may not taste like your steak, but at least now they have experienced that encounter and they can learn from it. But if you sit in your corner all because you don't want to get it wrong, you don't want to make mistakes, well, what tends to happen is people like that never do anything. They never go anywhere. And one of the other things that optimistic people will tell you is that, well, yeah, it may be dangerous, it may be risky, but guess what? I'm learning a new experience, but more than that, should this fall down, I have enough happiness, enough strength, enough resilience in me to quickly bounce back from this setback. So being an optimistic person it's a very good character trait to have in life, because it will open doors for you where people who are pessimistic are afraid to even knock the door, to even approach the door. It will open your eyes to new ideas. It will enable you to have new contacts. You will break the mold and go outside of your confinement and become a new person in the process. Now, don't get me wrong. The term optimism doesn't necessarily imply that a person is bad at managing risk or bad at making realistic judgment. No, that's not what it means. It simply means that they consider the options and they feel, well, if you can't make an omelette without breaking an egg. So why not go ahead and enjoy your omelette? And if in the course of doing that, the egg doesn't make you an omelette, but at least you've tried, rather than just sit down and play with your egg and not do anything with it. So being an optimistic person, what I'm trying to say is that it does not necessarily mean that the person is bad at calculating or managing risks or making or doing their due diligence. No, they do it, but what they don't do is to turn analysis into paralysis. After having done what is necessary, an optimistic person will step out and learn on the journey as they go. Optimists they are not just people who see the glass half full, as we said at the beginning. They also make, in general, statistically, optimistic people generally tend to make more money. They tend to enjoy healthier life. They have better benefits. They are more healthy. They don't really. They have a better attitude and towards life, and therefore life throws back at them something good as well. But the irony of it is this: every one of us were born with the tendency of being an optimistic person. That's why a child will while they're still very young and very little, will try things that we adults will like, oh no, don't do that. But to a child, that is an experience. That is an opportunity to explore. It's an opportunity to try to stand up when they cannot even sit down. It's an opportunity to try to roll over when they just learn. It's an opportunity to want to touch this and open that and check that. All of that were in its tendencies that we all had when we were little. But as we go through life, as we grow older, as we are exposed to life and other challenges and circumstances and situations, it starts to really eat away from the edges that tendency to be optimistic. We start to accommodate and entertain concern and fear, all in the name of wisdom. We start to look at things from, oh, be careful. Yes, by all means, be careful. But being careful is different from being idle. Being careful is different from being redundant. Being careful is different from being stuck in one place and not doing anything at all. But we, even though we were born with that tendency to be optimistic, to have a positive view to life and want to explore, as we go through life, as we bump into life, as we encounter other people, we start to grow and take on this other tendency of being a pessimist, of looking at things from a negative angle, from a negative point of view. And unless you catch yourself along the way, that will become the pattern, because generally most people will experience negative things more than they probably experience positive things. So because of the occurrences and the repetitiveness of the challenges that we face in life, we tend to grow weary of being an optimistic person. Having said that, optimism it's not a pie in the sky. It's not like, oh, it's just there. No. It's not closing your eyes and being in denial of the reality of what you are dealing with, or what you are confronting, or what is confronting you. And a lot of people will say, well, I'm not an optimistic person. I'm just being real. I'm just being real with the situation. No, there's nothing wrong with being real. Like I said, being an optimistic person doesn't mean you live in denial. But reality alone, being real alone, could even become a stagnation point. It could become a point of distraction. It could become the shackle that holds you down and prevent you from going past your very first or the initial view, or the initial attempt, or the initial thought of doing something new. So yes, it's good to be real, but then after that, what do you do? Where do you take it to? What will be your next step? Or are you going to sit down in your reality village and just stay there for eternity? But when you combine optimism and you accept the reality of life, then you have the ingredient now to make a solid, positive decision for you to move forward. And that is one of the things that pessimists can't see in the life of an optimist, because for an optimist, it's not that they are denying their reality, but they have considered the two options. They've mixed the reality with their optimism, and as far as they're concerned, we're good to go. Like I said, optimism is something that we had at the beginning of our lives, when we're little, when we're growing older. But just because maybe you are not at a position where you don't see things from a positive point of view, it doesn't mean that you've lost that tendency forever. No, it is still there. You can grow it, just like any habit, just like any other characteristics of life. You can learn it, you can develop it, you can grow it, you can take it to a higher level where your life will now there'll be a transition from when you were a pessimistic person to where you are now an optimistic person. And you, without a shadow of doubt, you will see the difference. The quality of your life will improve. Your ability to do things, to engage, to interact, to relate, will definitely take a better will result in a better outcome for you. So all I'm trying to say is, yes, be real. Don't deny the reality. Don't deny the facts. But don't let the facts become a prison that holds you down. Don't allow the facts to become a yoke around your neck that weighs you down to the point that you can't do anything. Being an optimistic person, in case you are wondering, okay, I've heard what you said, Tunde. So when I look at myself, I'm wondering, am I an optimistic person or a pessimist? Do I have more of this tendency than this? And if so, how do I identify where I am so that I will know whether I need to grow this or I need to develop that, or I'm doing well that I just need to continue down the line where I am? Number one, if you are being truthful to yourself, you will know what your perspective, what your views in life are, how you see things in life generally. You will know. And if you don't know, look back at the history of your journey in life and revisit the decision points of your life and see, given the options and the variables that you have, what was your decision? How did you arrive at that decision? What are the factors that contributed to you making that decision? But more than that, revisit the outcome of that decision. And looking back, you know what they say, hindsight is a great thing. If we all have it, nobody will need a foresight. Looking back at that decision or those decisions, would you say they have worked out positively or negatively? So all of that will help you to determine whether you are an optimistic person or you're a pessimist. But the good news is, even if you can't find that in your own life, if you can't retrace your steps or your track, as it were, to identify where you belong, let's quickly look at some of the habits of an optimistic person. Some of the things that somebody who is an optimistic, some of the things they would do, some of the things they would say, some of the way they would relate, some of the things that you will see in their lives that will identify them, not primarily as an optimistic person, but as who they are. And so maybe if we explore that, it might just help for you to identify whether you are an optimistic person or you are a pessimist. So what are some of the habits or characteristics of an optimistic person? What are some of the habits or characteristics of an optimistic person? The first one is, an optimistic person, they always find and have the ability to express gratitude. They always have the ability, and they do abundantly express gratitude. Being appreciative of big blessings is great. We all can do with that. We all do that. Yes. But you see, an optimistic person will go beyond just appreciating, just recognizing, just valuing the big, in your face, everybody can see it, testimony or breakthrough or blessings or happenings or whatever it is that is happening in your life. But optimistic people, they are always very grateful, even for the small things in life, even for those things that are seemingly immaterial, for those things that are almost unrecognizable, for those things that are neither here nor there. An optimistic person, because their nature is to see the positive in things, they find a reason to be grateful. They are always full of gratitude. For instance, things like you wake up in the morning and the sun is shining, you pull the curtains back and your bedroom is filled with rays of sunshine. An optimistic person is like, wow, what a bright morning day, what a great day this is going to be. But a pessimist might do the same thing, pull the curtain up and say, oh goodness, this early morning, the sun is already shining. We're both looking at the same thing, but the approach and the appreciation that we give to that thing is different. So one of the habits or one of the characteristics of optimistic people is that they are always full of gratitude. They always find a reason to be grateful for anything and for everything. They find a way of being thankful about the smallest thing. And the funny thing is that those small things, those smallest things, they make the biggest change and the biggest difference ultimately in your life and in my life. But all we need to do is to recognize them, is to value them, because gratitude ultimately is a function of the value that you attach to what you are being grateful about. If you've noticed on this platform, I don't close the program without saying thank you over and over and over again. Now, does that mean I'm not? Does that mean you guys have given me money or no? But you've made yourselves available. You've chosen to be with me on this platform, and you have done that consistently every week, week in, week out. It just begs the reason why I should be grateful, why I should appreciate it, why I should value your time, your commitment, your dedication. An optimist always find good in hardship. When they face obstacles, they find the good in it. When they face failures, they can see the good in it. Because as far as they're concerned, even though the hardship and the obstacle and the failure, even though it's putting a lot of pressure, physically, emotionally, psychologically, and even financially sometimes, on them, as far as an optimistic person is concerned, they see it as a reason, as a situation that will strengthen their resolve to bounce back, that will strengthen their resilience to be able to resist the temptation to give up and give in. No, they see obstacles and failures and hardship and disappointments. They see them as an opportunity to strengthen to strengthen their core, to strengthen their backbone, to be bigger and better and stronger in the process. When an optimistic person, when they stumble or they make mistakes or they fall or whatever, to them, it's not as bad as it is, because they have learned, they have mastered the ability to always find the silver lining in everything, to always see the good in everyone, to always see the positivity in every situation. So the first habit or characteristic of an optimistic person is that they are always grateful, and they don't shy away from expressing it. Is that you? If you look at your life, can you say that is you? Do you have the ability, the tendency to be like that? If not, maybe you need to start learning it and start doing it. An optimistic person is always interested in other people's situation and circumstance. An optimistic person is always interested in others. So much so that when people hear their stories of how they persevere, or how they relate and how they carry other people in their heart and in everything they do, you have no choice but to just be in awe of them, to just wonder, wow, I wish I could do that. I wish I could be in that situation. I wish I could demonstrate the same commitment and interest in other people. A good example of that is Senator John McCain that died last weekend, one of the senators in the U.S. I mean, this, from what people have been saying about him, and if you know his story and what he's been through, and how much of a human being and a statesman he was, you will see that even to his own detriment, he will prefer others. He will carry others in his heart, in his words, and in his action, in all that he does, he did. He prefers others. He was a prisoner of war. But even while he was a prisoner and was being tortured and being broken and stretched and all of that, when he was given the opportunity because of other things politically, because of his political connections and with his father and all of that, for him to be released from the prison, he said, no, there are other servicemen, there are other prisoners who were here before me, there are others who were here with me. Just because I have the advantage of my father behind me should not give me, I'm not going to take that advantage. So instead of him looking after himself, he had the interest of others in his heart. And today, history has immortalized what he did and what he stood for. Up to the day he died, he was so full of what about others? What is good for the country? Even to his own personal and political detriment. That's a person, that's an optimistic person who always have the interests of others at heart. You see, usually, naturally, really, when you are going through a situation, when you are facing a problem, when you are dealing with a challenge, it is easy for you to think you are alone in this. Oh, it's only you that is struggling with a disease. Or it's only you that have financial situation. It's only you that's having issue with your work or your marriage, your health, or whatever. It is easy for you to become narrow-minded and narrow vision to think, this is just happening to me. I'm the only one going through this. But the truth is, if you will just open that window a little bit, to look through, to peep through, to just pull the curtain back and see what others are dealing with, what others are encountering in their own private lives. When you compare that to your situation, you will fall on your knees and throw your arms in the air and say, Lord, I thank you. But you see, unless you are able to bring yourself to a position where you take your eyes off yourself to see what other people are experiencing and what other people are going through, you will not see the sun that is shining on your situation. Because if only you can just turn your eyes to see that even in the midst of this seemingly calamity, there is a ray of sunshine somewhere. There is a hope lingering somewhere. There is an opportunity there. There is a way of escape, like the Bible said, that you can engage yourself with. And if you think you have issues, if you think you're dealing with situations, try and read the inspirational stories of others in the past. People who've been through the eye of the needle, as it were, and they've come out, and now they are able to give the testimonies and to tell their stories in a book, in a video, in an audio, somewhere. When you see what people have been through, you will realize that whatever you and I are dealing with today, it's not as bad as we think. It's not as dire as we think. It is not as life-threatening as we're imagining it. Because the reality is, whatever you and I are going through right now, at this very moment, there are people that are worse off than where you and I are. There are people that have been through things 100 times worse than what we are dealing with right now, and they are smiling today. Do you know why? Because they've been through. They didn't die in it. They came through to the other side victoriously. And so when you interact with their stories, when you open yourself up just enough for other people's interests, for other people's issues to come through, and you weigh that against your own, you will thank the Lord God Himself. Another habit or another characteristic of an optimistic person is that they surround themselves with upbeat people. They surround themselves with upbeat people. The Bible talks about bad company corrupts good morals. There's a proverb that says if a goat walks with dog, it will eat rubbish or something like that. If you hang out with pessimists, people who always see the cup half empty, who can't see the sun that is shining after the rain, who can't see the rainbow in the sky, who can't see the good of life, the fact that they woke up this morning, they can still breathe and lift their arms and eat their food and go to the toilet. If you hang out with pessimists, over time, you would discover that your energy level is drained all the time. You have less energy after you've been hanging out with them, because all it will be, the time you are with them will just be one negative thing after another and after another and after another. And by the time you finish, you're like, I've been fighting with Anthony Joshua for over 12 rounds in the ring. Because a pessimist will always complain, will always whinge, will always gripe, will always find fault. You know, there's an old saying, if you live with a judge, you will always be on trial. If you live with somebody, if you know somebody, if you hang out with somebody, if somebody who is your friend, and all they can see is the negative of the negativities in life, you walk about with your face pulled together as if you're sucking on lemon. But if you hang out with optimistic people, with optimists, if you spend your time with optimists, irrespective of what is happening, you realize that you have this energy to absorb whatever life throws at you. You have the ability, you have the width and the depth to accommodate and still be happy in the process. You will find out that somehow, even when you are trying to be negative, they will talk you out of it, they will laugh you out of it, they will do everything to make you know there is more to life. Life is sweet, life is better, whatever it is you and I are dealing with right now. Let me say it this way. Things are hard. We can't kid ourselves. There's no point lying to ourselves. We have and we are all facing challenges in one form or another. Some big, some small, some 1, some 5, some 100. There are things in life that we are dealing with and almost seemingly trying to press us under and hold us down under the water. But even in the midst of that, there will always be reason for us to be grateful, for us to be happy, for us to see things in a good way. If you don't believe me, go to the nearest hospital to where you live and just walk down the various wards and see people. Go to the mortuary right now and see how many bodies are being rolled in. Some went to work this morning, didn't come back home. Some slept last night, didn't wake up. Some woke up and can't even lift their hands, can't talk, can't see, can't hear, they just completely just there but not there. When you think of how good God has been to you, how wonderful this life has dealt with you and is dealing with you, whatever challenge you're facing, you will still find a way of being optimistic about life, because there is always tomorrow. There is always tomorrow. There is hope. One preacher said, if life cannot steal your joy, it cannot keep your goods. Be joyful, be grateful, be happy, have a positive approach to life. Life is not a right, it's a privilege. Mary Lou Renton, an Olympic gymnast, said, optimism is a happiness magnet. Optimism is a happiness magnet. When you are around people who are positive and upbeat, it brings you up. It lifts you up. It jacks you up. It keeps you up and keeps you going. Another habit or characteristic of optimistic people is that they donate their time and energy for others. Whether it's helping in a local soup kitchen somewhere, or being available to help people, or being there to talk to somebody, being there to help a stranger, being there to help an elderly neighbor, being there to serve in your community, being there to whatever it is. Be a helper. You see, volunteering your time and your energy, one of the things it will do is it will help you to be grateful for what you have and what you are. Because you will come in contact with people that are less than you. People that don't have what you have. People that are not who you are. People that haven't been where you've been. People that cannot even see you, know you, talk less of appreciating you. But there they are in their world. But here you are with your full senses and full faculty, and you have the time and the energy to help these people. So when you donate or when you volunteer your time and your energy, one of the greatest lessons that you will learn is the lesson of appreciation. I wrote a book called Elisha Project, The Privilege to Serve Leaders. One of the greatest blessings in life, as far as I'm concerned, is being in a position where you can serve others, where you can contribute to the happiness and to the joy and to the benefit and to the betterment of other people, when you can lift their arms when they are getting tired, when you can push them just slightly to the next level, when you can give them a hand to pull them up, when you can be there to hold them from falling, when you can serve somebody and you can do it from your heart. The joy, the peace that comes from being a helper, there's not enough money in the world to buy it. Just the thought of, the realization of the fact that you are making a difference in somebody else's life, in somebody else's situation, in somebody else's circumstance. Priceless. Whatever you and I are going through, whatever we're dealing with, we always must have a reserve energy somewhere to help somebody else. Not because they're going to pay you back, not because they're even able to pay you back, but because you have the ability, you have the time, you have the energy, you have the intellect, you have the resources, you have the wherewithal just to be a helper. Wow, you can't put a price on it. You can't put a price on it. I remember when I was dilly-dallying about whether I should be doing this program, whether I should start it or not, and I wasn't sure, and I'm thinking maybe. I remember I met a couple, Jackson and Nancy, and they said to me, they said, "Sir, we've listened to one of the things you've just done, and if you just, without any preparation, just done that, then you can do this." And I'm forever grateful to that couple, Jackson and Nancy Ogunyemi, because they helped me at the point of shall I not. "81 weeks down the line, we're still here. I can't pay them back. I don't even have the what is it am I going to pay them for? But what they did then didn't cost them anything, but it made a difference. And because of that, I am able to come every week to spend this time together with all of us. And every week, somebody is learning something from what I'm saying, and it's been a blessing to them. So you never ever know how far the ripple effect of your help that you are helping others, you will never know how far it will go. So if you see Jackson and Nancy on the road anywhere, say thank you to them for me. Another habit or characteristic of an optimistic person is that they don't listen to naysayers. No. They don't have time for naysayers. No. You see, what other people say or what they do, especially what they say to you about you, is a reflection of their own reality, not yours. It's a reflection of where they are, not where you are. That is their opinion. But unfortunately, many of us will live our lives under the cloud of other people's opinion. And a lot of people never get out from under that cloud to become all that they could become. Because they allow somebody else's opinion, especially when it comes in the disguise of wisdom, to shut down and close down and block down their God-given potentials in life. So one of the things that optimistic people do or have is that, yes, they will listen to what you have to say, but they refuse to let that become the mantra for their lives. They don't take other people's opinion too seriously, especially when they don't agree with that opinion, when that opinion is not going in the direction of their journey, of their vision, of their lives. They say, yes, thank you, but they move on to what they have to do. Somebody said, the beauty of having a mind is that you can change it. The beauty of life is that you can disagree with other people's opinion and not lose a sleep about it. Just because somebody believes and because they think and they believe that they have the right to express an opinion to you about you should not deny you the same right to choose whether to agree or disagree with that opinion. You know what they say? Chew the meat, spill the bones. Chew the meat. The one that is not contributing or leading or adding value to you, chuck it. Don't let other people's opinions, especially an opinion that does not line up with your goal in life, don't let it affect you. Don't let it become a yoke around you. It is their reality, not yours. It is where they see and how they see it, not how you see it and how you feel it. Does that mean you should not listen to anybody? No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying listen to what they have to say. But you choose by judging, by examining, by weighing what that opinion is and comparing it to the blueprint that you have for your life. Even the Bible said we should check all spirit, judge every spirit to know which one is real and which one is not. The one that is not real, chuck it. Thank you, but no thanks. Quickly moving on. Wow, time flies. Another habit or characteristic of an optimistic person is that they have the tendency to forgive others quickly. They have the ability to forgive. They have this grace that yes, it hurts. Yes, they are disappointed. Yes, it goes way out of what they're looking for. But then they have a way of saying, do you know what? Let's move on. You see, forgiveness is drinking poison, expecting the other person to die, according to, I think it was Joyce Meyer that said that. Forgiveness is a choice that you make, not for the sake of the other person, but for your own sake. So that you can eject that issue from your heart, rather than allow it to rent a space in your heart that is not even paying the rent for, and polluting and corrosing other things in your life. Talk it out. An optimistic person, they have the ability to forgive. You know why? You know how? You know why they do that, or how they do that? Because of their optimistic nature, they have a way of reflecting on the fact that that's in the past. Let's move on. That's in the past. Let's move on. That has come and gone. There is no point tying yourself to a stake that's already behind you. Cut the rope or whatever it is and move on. You move on. Optimistic people, they move on into their future to make peace with themselves, to make peace with life, because they believe that if I don't make that peace, it's going to spoil my present situation. But more than that, it's going to steal even from my future. Is it worth it? Is it really worth you something that happened in the past and you're holding on to it and won't let go? And you are holding on to it so much so that now it has robbed you of your present and denied you of your future. No. An optimistic person looks at that and says, do you know what? It's not worth my today. Neither is it even worth my tomorrow. So it's in the past. Let it stay in the past. I'm moving on. I'm moving forward. I'm moving on with my life. An optimistic person will always find reason to smile. There is always a smile on their face. Do you know why? Smiling creates a happy environment. Smiling, it creates a happy environment. And you know what that does? It draws other people into that environment to share the happiness with you. Tomorrow morning on your way to work, just look at somebody in the crowd and just smile. You'll be amazed. They'll smile back at you. People will respond by smiling. And all you've done is to create an environment within that space for some joy and some happiness to exist. Medically, it's been said that when you smile, even in little doses, in small quantity, when you smile from your heart, it releases a chemical or a hormone that contributes to the feeling of well-being in you. I mean, even if it's for that, just smile big. There was a study done by the University of Kansas. They found that smiling, even when you don't feel like it, it reduces the intensity of the body's stress response, regardless of whether a person actually feels happy or not. If you just smile, even when you don't feel it about it, it reduces the intensity of the stress level in your body. For that alone, just smile, smile big. Just really smile. Oh my goodness, time is up. Wow. And I'm just about halfway through on this one. Well, I respect your time and I honor your friendship and your commitment. And I will never take it for granted. So we're going to draw the line here tonight and pick it up from here next week. But ultimately, all we're saying is, be happy. Life is good. Life is good. I was talking to a friend last week, and we're talking about somebody that we both know in the church, and we were together on Sunday talking, and by Tuesday, he's gone home to be with the Lord. No sickness, nothing. And so we're talking, and we started talking along the line of the fact that this life is short. And I'm working on a whole series to do on the fact that this life is short. Make the best of it. Get the best out of it, because all we have is right what is before us. There's no guarantee of the next minute or the next hour or the next day or the next week or the next year. So be happy. Be happy. Be happy. See the glass half full rather than seeing it half empty. Be happy. If nothing else, because it's good for your health. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tonight. It's been I'm glad that I did not refuse to go into this topic rather than continue with where we stopped last week, because I think what we've covered tonight has really, really been a blessing to me, and I'm sure to those of you out there as well. I only want to ask you one favor. Share it. Share it. Tell somebody about it. Let somebody bump into this that we've done tonight on your timeline, on your WhatsApp, on your Twitter, whatever other social media handles that you have, so that somebody can be blessed. Remember, we talked earlier on about donating your time, your energy, and your resources. This is part of it. Share this program so that somebody else can hear what we've heard tonight. They will be grateful. They will thank you for it. And I am thanking you in advance because I know you're going out of your way to do it. And I'm grateful for it. But ultimately, we have a purpose. We have a goal. We have a destination. There is a place that is set before us. And we will not stop. This is my commitment. We will not stop digging and finding and exploring and searching and becoming better and better and better and better till we reach that destination where we can look at ourselves and say, surely it's been a journey well worth it. Thank you so much for all that you have been to me and on this platform and to this platform. I honor you, I appreciate you, and I pray that God himself, who is a rewarder, will reward you abundantly. Thank you. God bless you, and we'll see you again next week. Until then, this is Tunde Disu signing off tonight. Be optimistic. Life is sweet. Thank you. God bless you. Bye-bye.